big news from us is that this year's Barclaycard World Freerun Championships is being held on Saturday the 15th of August at London's premier venue of Trafalgar Square. Being staged in London, the biggest worry is the elements. I mean, it could rain. We have a contingency plan in effect, which means that we're going to have a rooftop which is opaque. And the beauty of it all is that we'll be able to make a call the day before the event to see if we need it or not. Hopefully we'll have a heat wave that we're all expecting, and there'll be smiles all around. With this particular event, we're taking it to the next level. I mean, the last event was fantastic and was received really well. This one we've cranked it up by about 20 times. It's very, very high profile. For everybody who's going to be there, it's going to be a fantastic experience. But for those who are going to miss out on the experience, it's going to be broadcast live, which is a major coup for us. In addition to the live action, we're going to have some music. We can confirm that we've got the Pete Box coming back to do a live set. Anyone who saw the Thames Festival will understand, why we're so excited about that. We've got a few surprises up our sleeves which we'll leave till later in the day, but again, keep an eye on the website for any updates. Safety's always been paramount, and last year we were probably a little bit overzealous in the way we protected all the athletes. We had crash mats in various hotspots, and if anything, it probably killed the flow. So what we've done this time around is we've eliminated the crash mat area, and we've brought the obstacles down by a foot, which means that ultimately they should be able to do the techniques they would do as if they were doing them out on the streets. Initial thoughts about this were mixed, but at the recent Red Bull Art of Motion event in Austria, the same line of thinking was put into effect, and even though the drops were a little bit too high for comfort, the athletes adapted their game accordingly, and the eliminations of the mats didn't detract from their overall performance. One of the problems we had last time around was that everybody started from the top. Once they got down to ground level, it was quite difficult to get back up to the top again. So we've made that easier this time around. There's more vertical poles, some blocks, the scaffolding. It allows for movement to be created all over. So effectively, you don't need to make your way down to ground level if you don't want to. There's enough to keep you up at the top levels. One of the things that we're contemplating at the minute is having a kind of round, half horseshoe kind of effect coming out into the crowd. This will have obstacles littered around there, and will create a kind of pit, if anything. So a selected few people will be able to see the action up close and personal. It's going to be great for TV, but ultimately we want to make it interesting for the athletes, so they've got a lot to play with. What we're really conscious about is having too much of a floor space for them to get tired out, because they've only got 60 seconds, so that's why everything is contained in such a way. So we'll make it as interesting as we can, but at the same time we want it to make it work for the athletes. Times are tough for a lot of people at the minute, so it gives us great pleasure to announce that the tickets are absolutely free. There will be a sign-up process, more than likely through Facebook or one of the social network sites. In all likelihood, we'll have 2,000 tickets reserved for members of the UF community. More announcements will follow on how to secure those, so keep an eye on urbanfreeflow.com for more. One thing we really liked last year that went down well with all the competitors was the voting. This was left to all the athletes to do the voting and made for an atmosphere that was unique. Anyone who's seen the footage from the event can clearly see the camaraderie that was in effect. However, as we move on to establish this as a premier event for free running worldwide, we've decided to include a judging panel. This will be made up of 4 international representatives who have hands-on experience within the scene and are respected by their peers. The judging criteria will be broken down into 4 sections, where a maximum of 25 points will be awarded for each one. These areas are technical difficulty, execution, fluidity and creativity. So each judge can award a maximum of 100 points per run for any given athlete. This means that any athlete can score a maximum of 400 points per run. We'll explain in more detail on our website, but the above encourages a full range of movement that allows for a very healthy balance. As it stands, we're going to have 25 international athletes. Each will have 1 minute to perform their run individually. Once the 25 runs have been completed, the 10 highest scoring athletes go through to the final round, which again is another minute. I mean, the lineup this year is really, really cool. I think out of everybody, the one person I'm looking to see up close and personal is Daya Sanchez from Mexico. His way of moving is very fast, very fluid, and I'm interested to see how he adapts that to a purpose-built obstacle. Another person who's, in my estimation, is outstanding is Blue, Paul Joseph. He's representing the UK, and he's just coming off the back of a very good win in Vienna for the Red Bull Art of Motion event. This guy's got natural talent in bundles, and I think he's had a real confidence boost now. So I expect him to do big things. Last year's second placed athlete was Livewire, who also placed second in the Red Bull event. He's got a unique way of moving, and is a real crowd pleaser and loves the adrenaline rush he gets and really rises to the occasion. So I expect him to do well. I mean, the whole lineup is really red hot, but you've got some young guns stepping up, like Delian Dimitrov from Bulgaria, amazing athlete. He picked up best trick for a double side flip in Vienna, which was wow. You've got ND, which is Andrei Lisel from Austria, who is another one to keep an eye on. Pasha from Latvia. I mean, there's so many people to choose there. An obvious one would be Gabe Nunes, who's coming back as the reigning world champion. He's got a real fight on his hands to keep that, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. Victor Lopez. I mean, there's so many names in the hat that it's pretty much there for anybody to win. One thing you've got to take into account is that you're going to be in front of at least 7,500 people. You've got live TV there, you've got all the lights, you've got all the razzmatazz that goes with it. It's a pretty stressful situation to be in. It's all about coping with that pressure and and switching your A game on, really. As indicated before, the lineup is subject to change. There will be more announcements to be made as we go. So the best thing to do is to keep an eye on urbanfreefire.com for any updates.